Hello, and welcome to the Fit Over 40 Challenge Show, the number one health and fitness show for those of us in the club. Yes, that's right, the 40 and over club. My name is Coach Dave, and I am going to be your coach and your host today. And I'm super excited to bring you this next episode. And today, we're going to talk about something that most people probably hate, but some people actually kind of like it. And the title of it is To Scale or Not to Scale. And so I'm going to get into that in just a second. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that the other day I received a message from somebody on the Facebook page saying that they had found this podcast and that it was inspirational and they really enjoyed it and they were looking forward to some more episodes and some future stuff. So that right there just was really great. I mean, I just appreciate that. Those things really kind of help me and let me know that, things are moving in a great direction and that I'm having an impact. So if you would, I really would love to get this out there to more people. If you're on iTunes, you can go to iTunes and just give me a positive review. And that way when people are searching and they find it, they see that it's worth something and of value. Of course, if you find it that way. So I just wanted to kind of just say that before we get started. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into today's episode. And it's not going to be a really long and detailed one, but it's one that I get asked a lot. And I have to be honest with you, I have gone I guess, in different directions and different times personally for myself. And the title of it is To Scale or Not to Scale. Okay, so I always get asked, how often should I weigh myself and, when is the best time? And I'm going to be honest, initially, I really, really try to keep people away from the scale. And the reason is because I just know that there's so many different variables that go into scale weight, okay? And I don't believe it's the best metric or way to, figure out your true fitness or what you're looking for is that weight loss, that number, because scale really can have a whole lot of stuff and how much water you're retaining, what your lean mass is, your bone density, all that stuff. So I really do believe in like the DEXA scan and more of a body fat composition. But in actuality, when we really look at it, and I look at my clients and I look at most people, the most convenient way and the easiest way to measure, especially if we're doing a SMART goal, right, is to use the scale. Okay? So I guess the question that we're going to try to answer for you today is that do you step on it every day, meticulously tracking the ups and downs, or do you jump on it once a week, keeping your mind off of the number most days? Or do you skip it altogether and simply navigate your transformation using the markers of how you organically look and feel? Okay, so there's another way to do that. And so those three questions are going to be presented out there. And here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at each one a little bit closer. And I'm going to give you kind of some pros and cons. Okay, so let's start off with the first question I asked you, the everyday method. Okay, so there's a large school of thought that says in order to lose the most weight in the shortest amount of time, you must get on the scale every day. Okay, so weigh yourself at the same time and preferably the first thing in the morning. That's when you're kind of the, I guess you say the lightest of the, and that's when you can also wear as little as possible, right? You're in your confines of your own home in the bathroom. So I want you to then go ahead and record that number and then react accordingly. Okay, so if your weight's gone up, then you make modifications to your diet. Again, you eat less and you work out more. You go harder with your exercises. Maybe you throw some HIIT exercises in, that high intensity. Okay, if your weight's lowered, then you keep on doing what you're doing because it's working, right? Okay, so the everyday pros. There is research that backs this as a reliable method. Okay, so in the Journal of Obesity Study, this was published in 2015, okay, researchers at Cornell University found that participants who tracked their weight daily for 2 years, okay, so they did this for 2 years, were more successful in both losing weight and keeping it off than participants who skip daily weigh-ins. Okay, so there's actually research that shows this. Okay, and actually, when I was putting this together and found that, I really was like, wow. Okay, I did not know that initially that there was research. So that is a really good pro. Now the con is of the everyday method is, as I mentioned when we first started this podcast, some people absolutely hate the scale, and it puts them in a horrible mood. Okay, so facing the scale daily can be discouraging for some. Now, as I mentioned before, due to fluctuation, okay, and water retention, okay, it can take a toll psychologically. I am not immune to this. I have struggled with my weight over the years, and I get to the point where I'm like, wait, am I gaining more lean mass, or is this more water weight, or is this more fat? And so it frustrates me too, and sometimes I get depressed about it. Okay, so that can have a toll if you do it every day. So now, if you're one of those that gets discouraged, okay, enough, it may ultimately come at a cost, and that is giving up on your transformation quest entirely. I've seen this happen. I've seen it over and over in the amount of time that I've been doing this, that they're like, well, what the heck? I can't lose any weight. I'm done. I'm out. Okay, and the other side of it is that others may get obsessive about their weight, and it causes an unhealthy compulsion to develop. Okay, so we get that obsession of, okay, we're losing, we've got to keep losing. We're never satisfied is, I guess, what I'm trying to say there. Okay, so that's another con. Okay, so you got to weigh those pros and cons. Okay, so that was the everyday method. Okay, let's look at the never method. And I've done this one, okay? Maybe some of you guys have done this as well. But in opposition to the everyday method is the never method. So we go to the far end of the spectrum, right? Okay? As in never get on the scale. Like maybe you don't even own one. I had a client one time that we would weigh in, but they would close their eyes and they didn't want to see it. All they wanted me to do was to give them a yes or no, meaning was it higher or lower than before. Anyway, I just that kind of came to my head when I was talking about this. So this method that we talk about, the never method, requires that you rely on natural instincts. Okay, it's instead of the numbers. Okay, that means that it's how you intuitively feel, how your clothes fit. Okay, now I can tell you this. And I've kind of over the years have made some mental notes of this. I probably should write it in my journal, but in the wintertime, I typically wear a lot more, what do you want to call them? Not warm-up pants, dry fit. They're more elastic pants, okay? As opposed to like, I don't wear a lot of jeans, because I'm training. I don't wear a lot of shorts. And you get into spring and you start putting on the shorts, you start putting, and you put on the jeans, but you're like, ooh, things are a little bit tighter. So anyway, that's kind of the never method. You go off of how your clothes fit. And so let's talk about a few pros here. There's no more feeling terrible when you get on that scale, okay? That the number on your scale tells you that you've gained another 5 pounds. It's not happening. So there's no more obsessing over a number, right? And that's what the scale is. It's just a number. So your self-esteem is going to be untouched, and you're going to experience what I call a form of freedom. You're not going to have to worry about it. Now, let's look at the cons. I think it's always important to do this. So the never method cons. If you don't keep close tabs on how you feel and how your clothes fit, then this method easily can result in pounds adding up gradually over time. Okay, that's the thing. It's the time period. Maybe at first it's okay. 6 months down the road, okay? And it's difficult to notice weight gain that takes place at a very gradual rate without using the scale. Okay, so that is really the con there, that over time you start to just gradually gain that weight. And this was one thing that, I originally had said that I wasn't a huge fan of Weight Watchers, but the more and more that I had clients that were doing Weight Watchers and they knew they had that scale weighing, that accountability, that they were going to be looked at, did they make their number? Did they, that was motivation and it kind of kept them in track. Okay. So I guess what I'm saying here also is that when you do the never method, you're just going off of you feel great. And sometimes you really do feel great, but you don't realize it. You don't realize that ultimately you're slowly, gradually gaining some weight. Okay, so that's the never method. So we've worked through 2. Let's look at the final one. Okay, and this one is the one that I prefer. It's the once per week method. Okay, this is where I have basically graduated to and myself and what I recommend. And it's a once per week weigh-in. Okay, it's the most popular method. Okay, getting on the scale on the same day. Listen to this: the same day, the same time each week is a compromise between daily and never. All right. And I want you to do that because that right there is key. That same day, same time. Because if you do a different day and a different time, there's lots of fluctuation. Again, first thing in the morning is the best time, is what I believe. Okay. So, it's what we also call the compass method, meaning frequent enough to notice when you begin to drift off track, but infrequent enough to not intrude on your life in a negative way. Again, if that psychological toll plays a factor in your feeling and your motivation, then, that weighing every day thing is not good. Okay, this one, at least it's not every day. Okay, so let's look at the pros and cons just to finish this one up, and then we're going to wrap up today's podcast. So once per week method pros. You only have to endure the scale once per week. It's a blessing. If the scale makes you feel demoralized, remember, I talked about that already, okay? It's frequent enough to bring gradual weight gain to your attention before it gets too far out of hand. And I think that right there is the key because, again, as I've said before, I don't believe it's the best overall method in terms of your fitness. And, when you look at BMI and all that stuff, I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but at least it brings you to attention that that, hey, something is different here. Okay. And maybe I am gaining more lean mass. So maybe I need to go get body fat composition or something. Okay. Or maybe it really is, weight gain and I need to start changing things. I need to see a coach. I need to do something. Okay. But let's get finished with this, and let's just do the con, okay, and then we'll wrap it up. Getting on the scale, though, every 7 days does allow a handful of pounds to add up, okay, because depending on when you do it, you're going all week. Sometimes you might have the weekend involved if you weigh on Mondays, okay? So you're going to have a full week without checking in, and so the pounds could add up and you don't really notice, all right? And so that really, I guess, couldn't happen on a daily weigh-in. If you're doing the same time every day, you would know, hey, okay, where I'm at. But weight gain in a single week, can take more than another week to lose. So when we look at the con there, okay, I don't think it's as bad as the never method because at least you're going to find out in a week or so, okay? And it shouldn't be that dramatically different. So what is the best method? Now, again, I told you my preference, but really if we were to sum this up and say what is the best method, the truth is that there's no universal right way to monitor your fat loss progress, okay, to stay on track. The method that you choose should be the one that positively supports you, okay, towards your goals. My wife, I don't know if she does the everyday method, but she probably does a couple days a week, I think. I haven't really tracked her on that, but I know sometimes she's upset, and I'm like, what? She'll tell me. Anyway, I move on. So the thing is you know yourself the best, okay, than anyone else. And so you have to think long and hard about which method is best for you. Okay, that's where it comes back to. So if you hate the scale, but know that daily weigh-ins are the best way to keep you on track, then go ahead and bite the bullet and do it. Okay? If you feel like, hey, once a week is it, then go ahead and do it. I do go against the never method. I know that some people probably, and you probably know some people, you're like, wow, doesn't matter what they eat, doesn't matter what they do, they never gain weight. So they're probably fine. But for the majority of us, I think you should choose one method, either the once a week or every day. Okay. And if you need some support and you need some help with this, feel free to reach out to me. Okay. Again, I have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group. It's all about healthandfitness.com. You can reach out to me on there. You can send me an email. Again, you can get my email address. You can, give me a call. I'll be happy to do a 10-minute coaching call with you and see how I can help you. And, I just want you to get on the right track. I just want you to choose something that's going to help you in your journey, because it is a journey and it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so if you need to start tweaking things and you need some help, I'm here to help you. So anyway, with that, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Maybe you're listening to this in your car on the way to work. But I really would appreciate any feedback, any comments. And also just one last thing that I wanted to announce. Some of you guys know this already, but I had released my book, and it was out on Amazon. So that was the first stage, and I was able to get that out there on Amazon. And probably by the time you're listening to this, you're going to be able to get a copy of it. If you want to go to my website, fitover40challenge.com, there should be a tab in the menu that will say book, and you can go ahead and pick up a copy, or again, you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. The paperback version is available, and we are working on getting the hardback out there as well, if that's something you want. So I really appreciate the support there. And again, I hope you make it a great day. And if anything I can do to help you, I'm here for you. So with that, I'm going to sign off. This is Coach Dave.